Now, Sinek, you've asked if these African harrier hawks, the gymnogene, also feed on tortoises, like the Speke's hinge tortoise. I can't say that I've ever seen one eating a Speke's hinge tortoise, but again, we must remember that from the raptors to the mammal predators, is that they're all opportunistic feeders in a sense. So if there's something around that can be eaten and they're hungry, they're not going to pass it up because they don't typically eat it. So tortoises might not be on their menu all the time, but if there's one around, maybe it will. The tricky thing with the Speke's hinge tortoise, though, is they've of course got that hinge at the back, and they can lock their back legs away. So it can be quite tricky to get on in there. And these are not particularly large birds. I don't think they would be able to actually pick up a fully grown Speke's hinge tortoise and drop it from the sky, that we see some of the bigger eagles doing and ravens and crows doing. Maybe a little one, yes. But it's not really a favorite thing for them to eat. They do prefer raiding nests or eat chicks, typically. It's working hard there. It looks like Nikki, Jerry and Kirsty when they're doing yoga outside Final Control. Don't you think? I actually almost yelled out, Kirsty, Geraldine. So, Hal, thank you also for all those great screenshots you got as Senzel ran after their car this morning when they went for a run. It was quite funny to see them in their active wear, desperately trying to hide. And they said they didn't think that we were live. Jokes on them. You know what I have seen, David, is I see there's some kind of sundowner stop happening down to the left. We might be having pizza. We might have to go and actually have a look. If there's no, should we go and investigate? I don't have the binoculars. Let's stare from here. If they're not live, if they're of course they're live. I think they're still setting up. Okay, we're going to go and have a closer look and say hello. I think that could be quite cool to have a look. Wouldn't you like to have a little tour and see the pizza oven? I bet you would. I'm going to send you across to Steve, though, and see where on earth he is on Djuma.
Thank you, Taylor. I don't know. It's not the best evening for a bush bride. It's very windy. It's rather cool. And they're not going to get to see any stars. So that's probably one of the highlights for me of bush brides, is the night sky. And also, if it's windy, it can make it a little bit uncomfortable. But no doubt, at these fancy lodges, they give blankets and all sorts of things. We used to give out hot water bottles and blankets and shoulder massage. No, I'm only joking. Not shoulder massages while you're eating. But no doubt there'll be lots of red wine and whiskey for them to enjoy their meal. But we're heading back now towards Thamba. There doesn't seem to be too much change at the moment. Purple, that's a very nice question. What should people wear to go on a bush walk and on safari? Well, first of all, the number one thing that you need to come with is enthusiasm and excitement. But then neutral colored clothing. A lot of people like to wear these long-sleeved ones that breathe quite easily for the sun. A suitable pair of shoes. Don't go by what I wear. My feet are quite tough and I've been walking in the bush for a long time. But a suitable pair of shoes to keep the thorns out. Gaiters for your socks. This binoculars is an absolute must. A very nice hat, lots of sun cream, and a backpack that can hold water. So ideally one like mine that's got a little bit of a hose, so you can carry 3 or 4 liters of water on your back, and then also you can put your snacks and all your other little goodies inside. So that would be Senzo, as he munches on some nuts there, gives me the nod of approval. And that is about it. And a camera, a suitable camera, of course. Okay, we're going to go quickly over to Scott, who's got something small and fuzzy.
We do have something small and fuzzy. It's a little scrub hare. Well, it's actually a big scrub hare. It's not a baby. And it's keeping a very beady eye on us. And also using one of its ears to listen to us. And I think one of its ears to listen to Herbert, who's up ahead of it. So you can see how they're both kind of cocked in different directions. It must be wondering if we're trying to launch an attack on it. But don't worry, little scrub hare. We come in peace. Quite interesting to see it hopping about so early in the evening. But I guess it is a little bit darker than normal. And who knows, maybe this guy's got quite a big appetite and wanting to start snacking a bit early. Usually they just lie hidden during the day under bushes. Oh, it is hungry. It just had a little bit of a nibble there. Oh, it looks like it's continuing to nibble now. It seems to have relaxed with our presence. Cool. Now Seb's got a very tricky job here because he's hand holding the camera and there's lots of grass in between us and the rabbits. Cool. Kaylin, yes, animals will and do alarm call for humans. Not too many of them though. It's mainly the kind of birds, rattling cisticolas, grey go-away birds, occasionally squirrels will also alarm call at us. Those are the three that come to mind for me. Every now and then, if you give them parlour fright and they're not too sure what you are in thick bush, they may also let off one or two barks. But as a general rule, the animals don't get us confused with any threats. Gobbling away some grass, this little scrub here. As have I been. I've been nibbling on the sweet sugary base of the grass stems just about all of this afternoon. Let me demonstrate again. Oh, it's not working very well now that I need it to count. Oh, this is a disaster. Let me try and different kind of grass. This digitate grass usually works well. All of them are snapping off too high. Ah, better. You don't want it to snap up here because that's not where any of the sugars are. The sugars are all in the base. Nature's candy. Very nice. And what you'll notice is that I may have sounded like that little bunny nibbling away on the grass there. And also at the moment we've been noticing quite a few piles of grass where elephants have used their trunk to pull up a whole chunk of grass and then just bite off this juicy section and discard the longer section with the seeds on it. And this is the sweet part that they like to feed on. They don't eat the whole blade of grass in its entirety, and they just seek out the juicy bits, as would I. Amy, you would like to know how much water the guides need to take on bushwalk. Let me show you. It depends. Everyone's got their own preferences. I actually prefer a 2-litre bottle. This is a 1.5-litre bottle, and I've only made my way not even halfway through it. That's probably because it's really been very, very cool this afternoon. And my trick is to put this in the freezer as I get back this evening. Fill it up to about here. And then it freezes. And I just add a little bit of regular kind of water on top before I head out. And then it stays nice and cold for the duration of the afternoon. And it's not just on bushwalk, to be honest. Even on some of the hot afternoons in the vehicles here, you really do need to carry a lot of water. You sweat like crazy in this place. It's very humid, so you lose a lot of moisture and therefore need to replace it. Okay, well, amongst our crew here at Safari Live, we've got a bunch of social butterflies, but Taylor, I think, is the Victor Ladorum when it comes to that, and it sounds like she's at one of her hunting grounds.
Scott, I am at one of my local hunting grounds. I wish. I've actually just come here hoping that I'm going to get a slice of pizza. Remember how we saw the other day, everyone was setting up for the bush dinners at Chitwa, and I said, imagine yourself being here having a gin and tonic or, you know, a cool drink, if you will. But here we've got the wonderful team, all the chefs out, and bartenders, and you name it. They are doing pizzas and all sorts of other amazing things. Can you believe that we're able to pull beautiful guest delights like this off in the bush? Chitwa has really, really hit the nail on the head here. This is the most amazing little setup. I don't even know what to call it. It's pretty incredible though. How awesome is that? But we can't stay here long though because Dylan, Brain's brother, is on his way here with his guests, and I don't want to ruin the surprise. I don't think they really want to see us here. They're ready to have their gin and tonic, to have their biltong, to have their crisps. So we better get out of here quickly. So we're going to make like the wind, or we're going to make like a tree and leaf, and I'm going to send you across to Steve to see where he is now.
Thank you, Taylor. So much going on in that little conversation. I don't know what to really to say. You said all sorts of things that got me rather excited, but we are on our way back towards Tumba. He's just in the thickets up here again. The other vehicles have since left the sighting, and we are going to follow up now and see if we can find him. I'm sure he's going to be in the same place as he was before. Just get back on the track here. Oh, and watch out for big logs. Sorry, Sens, I apologize for that. We have got a roof on, so it makes getting through some of these areas a little bit harder. Not for me really, but for Senzo on the back, that gets treated like a catapult as each branch gets hit, swings back and connects the poor guy. So I'm having to watch out because we need his eyes. His eyes are very important. I don't know many cameramen out there who don't have use of their eyes, so it's important for his career and the occupational health and safety of this vehicle to make sure that I don't injure Senzo, because that would not be very nice, would it? And here we come up to the exact kind of branch that I was thinking about. So let me just go around this way, Sens. This is all for you, buddy. All for you. That was much better. Mina, what an interesting question. She would like to know if a leopard that's born blind or deaf, would it be able to survive? I don't think so, Mina. I mean, I really don't think so. I think their sight and their hearing is such an integral part of their survival. It might be able to survive during the cub stage because their mum looks after it, but as soon as it starts to have to not fend for itself, but for example, when Tundi stashes her cub in the long grass or in a den site and she comes back, she calls it and it comes to her. But also the cub instinctively, if it hears any other commotion or any other activity coming nearby, will hide and be very quiet. But a cub that is blind and deaf will probably just sit there and call the whole time, and that will attract unwanted attention of something that would want to do harm to that cub. So unfortunately, those deformities, being born blind, or those, what should I say, those handicaps, being born blind or deaf, would not survive with the animal, and those genetics would not perpetuate in the population. So the weak, unfortunately, in the wilderness will survive, and the strong will always go forward. So I hope that has answered your question, and let's see if he is still here. We left him just under that bush there, that weeping wattle, African weeping wattle. It's a good chance he's probably moved around to go and feed. So we'll go have a look. This is not where he was before. Penny, you make the comment that Safari, who was Karula's mother, was blind in one eye. That is probably an injury that she sustained. Oh, there he is. Hello, boy. He is looking right at me. Is that not a beautiful, beautiful cat? I'm sure that that blindness, well, I'm not sure because I don't know. It probably happened through an injury, and she was obviously still able to hear and see with the one eye. I'm sure there was quite a disadvantage to her upbringing or to her ability to do certain things. But leopards are very resilient animals, and I know that there's a lion in the Nkuhuma pride that has one eye that is blind. I've seen it before. Lions have the help of other pride members to do all the work for them or assist, but I don't think a leopard with one eye is the most successful, but they are so resilient and such adaptable animals that I think with a handicap like that, she'd probably still be able to do quite well, considering. But from an early age, if she was blind, I don't know if she was blind from a cub or if it was an injury. There's lots of damage that can be done to these animals' eyes in the risk when they take down prey, such as impala. Warthog are probably one of the most dangerous animals for a leopard to take down because of those tusks. Ooh, I just got a whiff of that kudu behind me. It is smelling very, very ripe. And the flies are annoying Thamba. He is behaving just like Osana did the other day. Unrelenting flies. Thankfully, none of them are landing on us, but his face is covered, probably still in the stench of kudu. And here he's going to come and do a lovely walk past. I apologize in advance for any part of the vehicle you might see. You can see his beautiful belly. He's walking right behind us, folks. Let's see where he goes. He's probably going to... Oh, he's having a look off into the distance. Something has got his interest. I don't know what. I'm not going to move because he's right behind me. Sorry about the back of the vehicle, folks. We are geared for everything. That is the aerial there that allows us to send our picture all the way across to wherever you might be in the world. Okay, now that he's moved, I'm going to reposition and see where he might be going. Senzo says he's moved the baby. He's moved the fetus. So maybe he's taken it up somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Get that sense? He has treed that fetus in the smallest possible tree around. But if I just go back half an inch, we can maybe try zoom in on those feet. Try zoom in on those feet and see if there's any scratches on them. No, they are completely clean, which means that it was either stillborn or taken from the mother's womb. Very sad. You see that like waxy layer on the hoof? It shows that it did not put any purchase on the ground. How sad. But he's eaten the better part of its backside. But we can come back. Let's see if we can keep up with him and see where it is that he might have gone to. Don't think he's going to go too far. But while we do that, we're going to go to Scotty Doo, who I think is preparing to head on home.
Yes, we are just arriving back at the vehicle. It's not far away, and it's getting dark a little bit earlier than normal due to the cloudy weather. So we're going to throw in the towel. I stopped at one last little mud wallow where I was hoping to try and find a foam nest frog, but no joy. In this light it would have been very, very tricky though. But we've enjoyed ourselves this afternoon. Sorry we haven't found you anything hugely exciting, but that's how it goes sometimes. And thankfully, Steve is the man on the money this afternoon, and happy to hear that Tumba has successfully hoisted that little kudu calf up into a tree. So at least he is going to salvage something from that kill, because I've got a feeling the hyenas are going to swoop in this evening and take the majority of the rest of the kill away from him. Very good. It sounds like Tumba's probably heading off for a drink though, so why don't you hop back on board with Steve and see what happens.
Happy and full?
No.
The channel's busy. Someone's holding...
Oh no, sorry about that everybody. All is good now, all is good. Steve will be alright. He's just got a lack of communication. Well, I don't think he even realized that he didn't have any communication. So we've left Chitwa, met some very nice guests who are also Safari Live fans, and had a good old chat to them. They said they were heading off for their second sundowner. They sound like a fun bunch. And they, what else did they tell me? Oh, they were at the Tumba sighting, so they said that they thoroughly enjoyed that. It always does make me happy when the guests, of course, get to see the things that they dream of seeing. And, well, having a young male leopard take down a fully grown kudu cow, it's pretty special. I can't say that I've ever seen that before. So hopefully he's going to be around in the morning, and I'll be able to have a look at young Tumba. That'll be quite nice. But it's getting dark, it's getting cold. Is it spotlight time yet? It's test. Everybody is so funny today, hey? What did everyone have for lunch? Kirsten has now said, I'll tell you what, but first the question was from Paula, and it was, what is the most sociable animal in the bush? But before Kirsten finished that, she said, except me. Big joke, hey? Ha 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 ha. So yeah, so most sociable animal. Well, you could go from lions, you could go from elephants. They're pretty social too. Even buffalo. Lots of animals are pretty social. Kudu are fairly social with their own species, of course. Impala the same. But I'd probably go with elephants and lions. And even baboons and vervet monkeys. They're fairly social. So there's so many different animals, and they're all sort of the degrees of social. No, that doesn't make any sense. What am I trying to say? I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't get my words out today. Yes, so there's various degrees of being social, and I feel like the vervet monkeys, the baboons, the elephants, and the lions have a higher degree of it. Where, you know, impala and kudu, wildebeest, the females, might be slightly less. But now I don't know what we're going to do this evening, because I've been searching for chameleons ever since I've been back, and I have yet to find one. And I don't know on a chilly night like tonight if we're going to see one at all. So we'll try our best, though. It's a little bit too light to bring out the old spotlight, but we'll get there eventually. Should we have a DNC, drive and chat? Who remembers that time I'd only just started at Wild Earth, and I don't think I'd seen a chameleon yet, so I drew a chameleon because Brent challenged me. You were on the car with me, hey Darby? And we put a fake chameleon in a tree, and Brent didn't find it funny at all. We all found it hilarious. I thought it was very clever. This is before he got to know me, though. And probably thought, what an idiot this girl is. Why did we hire her? Probably still thinking that. Anyways, right, we're going to continue down Twin Dams and just check a couple of favourite spots. Steve is still sitting with Tumba. I wonder if he's still high up in that tree.
Thanks, Taylor. No, it's not. He moved off about 30, maybe 35 yards from the tree. And this is something I've seen before with leopards as it starts getting dark, especially if they've got a kill on the floor. He's taken that youngster that we saw up into the tree, so that one is secured, but the female kudu is still on the floor, and it's probably not very far away from hyenas detecting it, and the reason he moves off is that it gives him the opportunity to escape if anything comes lurking, because they'll be attracted to that smell, lions or hyenas, and it means it gives him the opportunity to flee. There's not too many tall trees in and around the area, so he'll need that sort of chance to escape if a group of hyenas comes in. I don't know, as a young male, what his chances are against a group of hyena or how he would even manage them. And what I've seen in the past is that leopards generally get a reputation with hyenas, but he's still quite a youngster, so whether he's developed one yet or not is hard to say, this being my first outing with this beautiful boy. Time for a bit of grooming. You see how his pupils are getting bigger. The light is fading. We're going to be going to infrared shortly. But notice how even though he's starting to doze off there, his ears are constantly alert to anything that might be approaching. They need to be aware. They don't have the... He's got some attention there. You see the ears and the eyes. They don't. There we got the eye. We don't have the. He doesn't have the benefit of friends or brothers and sisters around to spot anything approaching. So he has to be alert. If he gets caught off guard, just a bite from a hyena. Oh, we just had a branch fall in the car. Apologies for that sound. But if he just gets one bite on his leg from a hyena, it could lead to his demise, because a leopard that can't climb a tree is not a safe cat. Can't take his food up. He struggles to hunt, and to get away from predators would be very, very difficult. Look at how those pupils are getting bigger and bigger. He's scanning the darkness. So many sounds and smells that he'll be picking up that we have absolutely no understanding of. Lisa, he does have gorgeous eyes. Probably the prettiest leopard eyes I've seen in a sub-adult. Obviously, there's nothing to compare against the eyes of Tundi's little cub. I've never seen anything cuter than that in my life. And he's dozing again. You see, very alert. Always alert. getting ready for the long life of solitude. I'm not sure if I get that name properly. Someone Peanut. Sorry, Kirst, I'm not clearly copying the name. Jacuzzi Peanut. Jacuzzi Peanut is a very interesting name. You would like to know, would a leopard or would a hyena go straight for the kill and not the leopard? Most certainly. The hyena would find the kill through smell, and it would follow it in. We practically found it now coming back. Even if I wasn't looking at the sort of two-track coming in, we could have found it with our noses, and I believe that's how Herbie found it this morning. So hyenas will walk, and they'll pick up the scent, and they'll keep walking until they walk directly onto the kill, because that's where the strongest smell is coming from. And once they get there, because that's what they're looking for, they're not looking for a leopard. They're not looking to confront a leopard. They will if they need to, but they'll go straight for the meat because that's what they're after, and their noses will take them directly to that. And obviously, at that stage, if they do see the leopard, they might try to chase it off or whatever, but if they get to a kill and there's no other predator there, they'll just devour as much as possible. And if they need comrades in arms to help them, they will do their ooh kind of calls to call in their friends. But a hyena that finds a kill like that on the ground will eat as much of it selfishly before calling anybody. For the benefit of itself, of course. The wind seems to have died down a bit. It's still a little bit gusty, but not as much as it was earlier. Look at that, just like Hasana. We're going to go over to Miss McCurdy, and we're going to stay here with this beautiful cat and see what she's spotting.
Trying to spot chameleons, Mr. Falconbridge. That's what I'm trying to do this evening. But I've only just started trying to spot the chameleons, so I've still got a little bit of time, you know. Maybe I'll have to sing a song to call them out. I don't know if you know that, but you can actually call chameleons out if you sing to them. Now, Sean, seeing as though we're having a DNC, you've asked about horseback safaris and whether I've done one and how do they work, because horses are prey animals. That you are correct. I haven't done a proper horseback safari. I am a horse rider, or used to be a horse rider, but sadly I haven't been on an exceptional safari. I did go on one small one where there was just some general game. There were no big predators in the area. So I would imagine, I don't actually even know, everyone just goes, and I suppose if you give the predators room, most of the time they'll leave you alone, but I'm sure you get the odd case when a lion goes, I'm going to chase after you. But that safari guide on horseback will know exactly what to do. I wouldn't have a clue, in fact, because I'm not a trained horseback safari guide. So, I don't know, do you gallop off? Do you make your horse stand its ground? I would probably try and get out of that area as quick as I could. And try and avoid viewing big cats on foot. But it's inevitable because you'll bump them. But, I mean, we've even seen... we see predators on foot. We see lions and leopards on foot all the time. That's slightly different because they see the human shape and they've got a natural fear for us. So I don't know if they maybe see the extended part of the horse, that it's got two heads instead of one. I don't know. I haven't really got a clue as to what would happen. Has anybody been on a proper horseback safari through the Masai Mara? It was something that I really wanted to do while I was there, but I just didn't quite get to it. Can't do all the fun things at once. So yeah. But that's a dream of mine. I really want to. If I go up to... Oh, that elephant gave me a fright. That was very unnecessary, elephant. He like charged out at me. A young bull though, being cheeky. I'm not scared of you. Not even a little bit. Wait. Just snapping my fingers at him. It's a young bull again. Hello? Why did you do that? That wasn't very nice. I almost had to change my pants. Oh, he's turning away now, carrying on with his day. Phew. It was just because I didn't see him out of the corner of my eye. stepped out of a bush and sort of like swung his head, and I just went, what was that? Anyway, it was an elephant bull. Now that I know it was him, I'm not scared anymore. I get frights really easily. It's quite easy to scare me. Oh, I should never have said that. I take that back. I was just joking. Brent has scared me once before. I think I was doing an Insta story, and in the Mara, and we were sitting at the Out of Africa tree. Sitting there, I can't remember, I think it was starting to rain or something along those lines. And then Brent came out of nowhere when we had our rain covers down, and he stood next to me and went, "Wah!" And I think I actually have a video of it, but I don't know if I say a bad word or not. I can't remember, so we won't be showing it to you until I know what I actually say in that video, but I'll try to find it because it's quite hilarious. He thought it was very funny. Manu was in on it the whole time. He saw Brent coming around and didn't even think to say anything to me. Thought Manu was on my side. But anyways, so yeah, still no chameleon. We're looking though. We're going to try our absolute best to find some nocturnal critters. I would actually like to see a pearl-spotted owlet or perhaps a scops owl. Even a rose eagle owl will do. So while I try and find either one of those animals I've just listed to you, I'm going to send you back to Steve to see what Tumba is now doing.
Thank you, Taylor. He is still flat. He is twitching. He's very alert. It's that time of day when these animals just come alive. He's eaten, so he's not too bothered. Just chilling in the long grass. It'd be really awesome to have some hyena activity here. And the smell that we have, I doubt it's going to take them too long to pick up on it. It is swirling. It doesn't matter where we park the vehicle. We get a whiff of this very smelly ripe kudu. It's irresistible to a hyena. Beth, if you want to know if leopards fall out of trees, I've seen leopards fall out of trees. They didn't mean to fall out, but adults are very, very good at balance. If you've ever watched a domestic cat walking along a wall or walking up a tree, they do very, very well. They have no difficulty. But it's the youngsters generally that maybe get a bit boisterous and maybe they lose their footing. I've seen them fall out of a tree when they're quite young. Tandi's cub a month ago or so, we got her jumping around in a small jackleberry, and she then fell down and fell almost on top of Mum. It was really quite something to see. So I don't know whether they do it on purpose or if it's just a bit of a slip of the foot or a bit of over-eagerness, but I have seen them fall. But when it comes to climbing, there's no better cat, of the big cats that is, than a leopard for going up and down a tree. It is how they've managed to survive in the savanna ecosystem. The competition from lions and hyenas, it is to dominate the trees, not just for their own safety, but for securing their food. Requires a lot of energy for a leopard to kill, and once they do kill, they need to make sure that they get every morsel out of that animal. And you've all spent time watching, or those of you who have spent time watching Jamie and Brent and Taylor up in the mire with the cheetah, and see how easily they lose their prey to the likes of hyena and lion, and the energy expended by them to catch that is enormous. And the more and more they lose, the lower their energy gets. So it's important that they eat quickly. But a leopard doesn't have to do that. They have the luxury of killing, hoisting, and taking their time about it. So he's surely secured that small kudu there, but the female is up for grabs for whoever would like to come. But in saying that, we had Hukumuri just here, probably about 200 meters from where we are sitting. I had him with Seb the other morning. He had the remains of Tingana's bushbuck kill, not far away from here. So who knows, if Tingana or Hukumuri happen to be in the area, I bet there'll be absolutely no qualms about stealing whatever meat they can from this young cat. David would like to know if a jaguar or a leopard are larger, and I don't know, David. I think they're probably about the same size. If all things are even, it's possible that leopards are slightly bigger, but I don't know. But maybe that's something we can check. I have no idea how big jaguars get, but it is very interesting. I know they derive from the same background. What's going on there, boy? Thanks, Kirsten. Kirsten has done a little Google search, and Wikipedia, the source of some interesting information and sometimes not always accurate, but it says that a jaguar is stockier and heavier than a leopard. And that would probably... Jaguar has a shorter tail. Okay, he's moving back towards his carcass. I don't know if he sees anything. Sorry again about the pole. He is a beautiful leopard. Nosana is definitely a bit stockier than him. But he is going to be a beautiful, beautiful male. Okay, so we're going to go back around this bush and see what he gets up to. Maybe he's getting a little bit peckish. So that was the IR, and back off IR now. What are you up to, my boy? Just seeing here in the dark how my their sense. Okay, well, while I navigated this bush here with my roof, I'm going to go over to Miss McCurdy, who's also got infrared on, and see what she has.
Well, we're actually doing more listening than anything, but I'll tell you about that now when they start chirping again. There's a couple of foam nest frog nests that have looked like they've almost completely disintegrated. I reckon that the little tadpoles have fallen down to the water now. But now, of course, these frogs have stopped chirping. And have a little listen. I'm not sure what they are, but I can't see them either. I'm desperately trying to search for them with the spotlight. So I don't know if they're hanging around on the edge of the water or if they're in and amongst this sort of vegetation. Probably in and amongst the vegetation, which is a pity. Let's scan this side, see if I can see anything. Just the old terrapins. If you look all the way along the edge of the water, you'll see little terrapin heads sticking out, and then there's plenty of blacksmith lapwings too. But how beautiful is that sound? But I don't know what frogs they are. And not that high-pitched blip. It's the smaller ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. Very interesting sound. Now, Joy, you pointed out that you think it's quite loud. It is. Now, can you imagine how loud it is for me sitting here? It's beautiful, though. It's not a bad sound. Sorry if it sounded like I was complaining. That's not what I was intending to do. I wonder how these blacksmith lapwings sleep at night. With all the commotion. Look how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All very excited. Actually moving around a lot more than we normally see them moving during the day. I suppose it is nice and cool now. Very busy catching all those insects on the surface of the water. Do you not think that they get exhausted doing that? Also, I wonder how many of those little insects that these birds need to eat to feel content, like Tumba is at the moment. Goodness, and they barely make any ripples when they peck against the surface. They're quite accurate. Pretty amazing, the life that you can find at a dam. I'm going to keep scanning. Let's see if I can find a frog. Now, most of you know that we are, in fact, in infrared, and Bree, you've said that it is cool. Darby, I see your eye shine. So, if you go... Oh, it's a duck. If you zoom in directly... So you see those twigs that are a little bit on the left? If you go down from there, in the water, drop down a little bit more, and then go a little bit to the right. There we go. There, you see what I'm talking about? There's something crawling there. What is that, an insect? Person says it's a snake. It's not a snake. It's either a frog. Or it's an insect of some sort. I'm just getting chirps from the peanut gallery in Final Control. They love it. Wait till I get back to camp. I'm just joking. I don't know what it is, if it is one of these tiny little frogs. I want to say it's one of the cacos, but I actually, to be honest, I have absolutely no idea what's making that second chirping noise. I do see a lot of eye shine in there, though. I've slunk back in my chair, scanning the edge. Oh, where's the frogs when we need them? I love the frogs. Just looking carefully for more eye shine. It's a pity it's just a little bit too far away for us to see. Oh, David, at the edge, did you see these twigs here in the water closest to us? The closest one to us on the right, at the base of it. Yes, you got it. There's something there. I'm also getting an eye shine. It's a spider. Drop down a little bit more. Look. I'll give you a little bit more light there. There's a fishing spider. Michelle, you were asking if it could have been a tadpole that we saw earlier. I don't think so, because it looked like it actually climbed up and went on to the top of those leaves. However, we can identify this successfully. Is this a fishing spider? They would like to catch tadpoles and frogs. They're really quite cool. Is that fine? We're just trying different things with a little bit of spotlight, with a little bit out. There we go. Now you can see all the mosquitoes and all sorts of other midges and things buzzing around. That's what the birds were eating, the blacksmith lapwings. And that spider's waiting there patiently. It's going to eat a number of different things. From any insect. Oh, there we go. Caught an insect. There we go. So it's just waiting patiently. If something bigger comes along, like a tadpole underneath the surface of the water, it'll also stick those pedipalps and all sorts of things, grab them, pull it up, devour that. I'm sure it would eat a little beetle if it got the chance, or grasshopper that got stuck on the surface of the water. Looks like a very healthy spider. It looks very plump. So that's so nice to see. We often see them during the day, and they're quite pretty too, if you consider spiders to be pretty. Now, it's kind of hard to gauge, I suppose, for you sitting back at home as to how large that spider actually is. And Lara Moore, you're wondering exactly that. I would say, it's quite fun. It looked quite small when I had the spotlight on. I would say, I don't know what size. Maybe a circumference of about 5 to 7 centimeters or so. That's with its legs. So it's not a very big spider. Its cephalothorax won't be massive. Its head will be quite small too. I mean, you can sort of tell just by the size of the prey that it's feeding on. I mean, now it's going. Are those mosquitoes or midges? It's just quite hard to see them. They look like mosquitoes. They look like they've got long legs. A couple of them are landing every now and then. I think they are mozzies. It makes sense if the mosquitoes are hanging around the water. Of course, their larval stage is in the water. But wonderful. What a pleasure visiting the arachnid that lives in Treehouse Dam and, well, its potential prey. Quite nice. And all the frogs that are making a noise. I hope you enjoyed the sounds, yeah? But off you go back to Tumba, who's fast asleep.
Yes, he is. His head is down, and he's lost absolute interest in anything that might be trying to sneak up on him. We're once again in infrared. Make out his features very nicely there. But notice how the ear is constantly twitching in search of whatever might be trying to sneak up on him. He's moved back a good 20 yards or so towards the carcass, but he hasn't investigated it any further. Still a relatively full belly, but he could fill it up much, much more. Ravinda, what an interesting question. Do leopards vomit if they eat too much? I've never seen a leopard vomit from the actual food, but I have seen leopards and lions both vomiting hairballs, fur balls, when they feed on too much fur, and they'll vomit up especially lion, lots of fur and even hooves and bone that they ingest in the absolute frenzy of the kill. But leopards will spend a lot of their time plucking the fur out of the meat before eating, but they still do get major fur balls in their throat or in their stomach, which they will not digest. So you'll often find leopards eating grass, and if you tried that yourself, you took some grass and you ate it, it would cause you to regurgitate. So dogs and cats do it, and it works very well to get that unwanted fiber and cellulose out of the belly. The evening is very, very still. The wind is still there, but it's only a whisper. All of you grass experts out there will be able to tell me what grass that is in front of him, I'm sure. Waving in the wind. A very palatable grass. There's actually two there, but I'm looking at the one that kind of looks like a hand or some fingers. Forage score 10 out of 10. Very valuable grass out here. And it is also good for hiding a cat. Hidden behind is a beautiful cat. Senza and I have been very fortunate this afternoon to spend some time with him. I'm just sad we missed when he hoisted that baby kudu up the tree. I think that would have provided some marvelous footage. Not too many grass experts out there, it seems, or are you quickly commenting? No guesses. No guesses on the grass front. We're all too interested in the sleeping cat. It's understandable. It's understandable. Scott Dyson's actually asked me to give him another Piot, says tragus. No, the grass we're looking at is not a tragus, but very nice use of a scientific name there. I'm very impressed. Scott Dyson has asked me to recap grasses with him again after my education with him about 10 years ago. So we'll probably do a bushwalk sometime, just the two of us, and go over all these wonderful grasses that we have. Barbara, it's not a black and white grass. No. Not at all. Project Alpha. Of course, you get that right. Not only do you get the common name, fingergrass, you also know the scientific name. And it's very easy to remember because fingers are digits. So Digitaria is the genus name, and Eriantha is the species name. So there we go. A little bit of trivia for the afternoon, while the leopard sleeps off his belly of kudu. So while we stay here with this beautiful cat and see what else unfolds in the next while, let's go over to Taylor for an update.
I feel like I'm in Chameleon Valley at the moment with all the overhanging guarri trees and bush willows and all sorts of wonderful things. So we're keeping our eyes open. Do you know what else I looked for on my way up Shibamu Road? Was the community nest spiders. Do you remember, I think it was when I first started here, in fact, there was quite a few, I'm trying to think, a little bit further back, closer to Gari, Maine, there was a nest. There were two nests. It was actually a double nest. There was one, and then there was sort of one up a little bit higher than that. And I'm sorry, I just thought of something really funny. And we had some really epic sightings. Actually, it was probably some of the best community nest spider sightings we had. And we always used to come there at night on a nice sort of warm evening. And the reason why we go there at night is because they are nocturnal. So we're very active. And we'd watch the moths fly into the webs and all the spiders would come running out. So I had a little look for them, but sadly, no luck. I think they've moved on, unfortunately. So I'm trying to find some more, because if I can't find a chameleon, we've hit the jackpot with one spider tonight. I think it would be quite nice to find well, some that live together. Be quite cool. So that's going to be the plan. Now, as we're driving along, and there's been much chat this evening of chameleons. Seenak, you've asked, is there anything that would feed on a chameleon at night? Snakes? Snakes love it. Boomslangs, so the tree snake, they absolutely love to feast upon, scrub hair. Chameleons. Trying to think what else would. Hornbills do, but that's normally during the day. No, come back. Why, when I drive, do you not want to move out of the way? And then, of course, as soon as there's no lights, you run for your life. But a beautiful scrub hare, which there's no shortage of out here. There are plenty scrub hares around. I wonder when breeding season is from there. I'm pretty sure they have more than one during the year. They do look like they've been behaving a little bit frisky. Oh, leaving some cool tracks on the ground as well. Might have to, next time we come walk, we must remember to do that, actually. Let's have a look at some scrub hair tracks, because I don't think everybody knows what a scrub hair track looks like. It's a strange thing. So we'll actually show you when we're on bushwalking. We can get the camera nice and low. We'll need the sun in our favour too. To cast some shadows. Off it goes. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Or not bouncing. It's not a rabbit. Run, run, running. Right. Be careful. Hosanna could be around here. Let's see. Oh, there's a little bird. Hang on. I think it might be a kingfisher. David. There. No, of course I didn't. Can you see it? I'm not going to put my spotlight on it, but just so you can see with your eyes, just above on those leaves, on the tree. Yeah, on that branch, go up a little bit more. There we go. Center frame. There is actually a little something. A little shrike. Looks like a shrike of sorts. It's quite cool. That's going to be its perch for the evening. Just resting there. Looks like it's got its eye mask on. Ready to sleep, or it even yawned. Very nice. That's a good spot. Although I think I would have chosen a spot that's slightly more steady, because it's on a bit of a flimsy branch, and it has been quite windy, and I think you're going to get blown around quite a bit. Kirsty says it's like a rocking chair. Probably. That's actually quite nice. Maybe, there we go. Maybe that's why birds do choose to sit on flimsy branches at night, so that they can rock themselves to sleep and try and forget about the terrors in the night and the servals that will try and eat them. Or the owls. Hey, what about the Verreaux's eagle owls that just fly into the trees and knock their prey straight out? Still waiting to see that. Read about it. Have yet to see it. But very cute. Very relaxed. Now, remember, we're not affecting this bird in any way, because we don't actually have a harsh artificial light on it. We've got the infrared, so it shouldn't be bothered by it at all. But we haven't got too much longer to go before the show ends, and I'm sure you all want to wish Tumba a good night.
Thank you, Taylor. Look at those ears. Those are the largest ears I've ever seen on a leopard. I think maybe he is growing into his ears. Just like some dogs are born with really big feet, they grow into their feet. I think Tumba is going to grow into his ears. See, we have a couple of vehicles that have joined us in the sighting to come and see this beautiful cat, as you can understand you would if you could. And he has been lying flat until now, and now he's got his head up again, and his interests are perked. It might be the vehicles approaching that have got his interest, but it doesn't seem to be too determined on any direction. But he's listening, he's smelling, and he's staring with his beautiful pupils into the darkness. Look at those eyes. Yes, Jessica, he is not only cute, he is gorgeous. He is gorgeous. I'm just going to assist in this vehicle coming in. Because they can't see what we're looking at, because we're looking with infrared at this cat. And it has been a wonderful afternoon with Tumba. He has been such a sport. Just have another vehicle joining us now, so apologies for the extra light. Good evening, folks. As Tumba gives us one more look, I'd like to say thank you from us here at Wild Earth Safari Live. Senzo, myself, Taylor and Scott, everyone at FC. It's been wonderful having you on this afternoon with your comments and questions. We'll be live again tomorrow morning, bright and early. We will see you then. Have a good night.